everybody, Ali Director. I'm back with a new video. Today, let's talk about some of the global and economic landscape issues and challenges that people are having, given the fact that what's happening with the whole pandemic and where we're at in today's situation and climate. What are some of the changes that you can do directly to influence things moving forward, especially going on with the situation of yourself and your job maybe, or the economic losses that you've gone through as a business. What are some of the things that you can potentially do to avoid downfalls going forward? So let's talk strategy. You're going to hear a lot of birds and stuff like that. We're actually outside today, just taking a walk, maintaining good social distance here. It's very important. Getting back to topic. So if you were affected economically as a business owner, what are some of the steps that you've taken to restructure yourself? Let's talk about that first. Have you taken the time to restructure some of the ways that you do business? See, a lot of people who are retailers, grocery stores, shops have to adjust to the new medium of doing business. They have to adjust to the new concept of servicing customers online. And the reason why, it's because a lot of people more and more are shifting towards these online businesses, and the problem there is they adapted very little to the philosophy of really handling customer care when it comes to online businesses. So the methodology here is to make sure that whatever we do when it comes to the business and adapting processes to those businesses is that we have to think about everybody in mind. We have to think about crisis management. I always talk about crisis management, and I think it's one of those things that a lot of people don't really appreciate when it comes to organization. People kind of forget that in crisis management you have tools with you available that'll give you infrastructure on what to follow and what not to do, and kind of give you some idea and direction as to some of the things that you can make in terms of moves financially to help the situation. So with it, there are a few things I'd like to start with, especially in the scenario planning of a business owner. First things first, you always want to make sure that you're looking at your infrastructure as a whole and have some sort of reserve to handle the type of distress or situation or challenges as a business owner. And when you look at distress, you have so many different scenarios of distress. The most common types are basically orders and service management, and being able to handle what you have going on right now in times like these, economic prosperity, and even downsides, right? But what I mean by that is you got to be able to make sure that you be able to service your customers based on the changing climate, the situation that's shifting on a regular basis. You have to have a business that's malleable. The biggest challenge that I see now with business owners is that they got challenges with, let's assume they're old business owners and they have industrial age type of situation going on for themselves. Like a lot of people visit them at the store, and a lot of people kind of go there to try to do business with them face to face. And because of the whole shift in staying home and this whole pandemic, a lot of people are actually doing businesses from perspective of going online and shifting their whole methodology online. And I think really we need to focus on that. We were discussing the concept of, and I apologize about the church, but hopefully you guys can hear me. I'm right across a church actually, see this beautiful landscape here. So it's really nice. So going back to our topic, crisis management, right? Having the infrastructure and the technology to support what's happening now, having the infrastructure and technology to be able to adapt to the customer principle. See, a lot of old business owners, the old systems that they don't have that type of adaptation process, and that's actually hurting them more than that's doing them good. So my concept here is very simple. Whatever type of things that you do, you have to adapt to the new philosophy and the processes of doing things. That requires you to really shift your mindset and to kind of put things together in perspective of, how do I go in front of those customers in times of need like this? What do my customers need from me? And a lot of business owners are failing to realize that. And what's happening now is actually they're suffering not only on an economic standpoint, but also growth perspective as well. Because if you can't service your customers when they need you most, and we know that this is basically talking about the online infrastructure and all these type of things that you do, you're basically putting yourself, deeper and deeper into a hole. It's going to be a little bit harder for you to get out of when things go back to normal. And the new normal is basically going to be have you adapted your business model to follow through based on what just happened? And let's be honest with each other. A lot of things are becoming simplified, and if it's becoming simplified, that means that business owners are, trying to figure out a way that they can kind of scale whatever they got going on now, going, beyond the situation that we're at, and basically touching into the time frame of everything going well afterwards. And then from that perspective, what are they doing to make it better, improve it, tweak it, make it even more interesting? And there's a lot of challenges there, but businesses are adapting to that. Customers are basically kind of demanding that your infrastructure be adjusted to the new norm, right? And if you don't have that philosophy embedded in your business, or even you don't care about that, then you're going to have a very short span of life in your business, and your survival rate is going to be inevitable. Basically, you're not going to survive this whole calamity and debacle that we've gone through, or we're going through even. So think about these type of things that I just shared with you. And I think that, the more and more you basically think about, improving infrastructure, your business model and systems to the new norm, and to making sure that, you're servicing your customers to where they need to be served. You're thinking about their needs on a regular basis. And not only that, you're making sure that your convenience, you have to think about their convenience. How convenient are you making it for them to basically tap into the products and resources that you have access to, perhaps even services? And if so, what's the steps needed in order to make sure that they can get the facilities that you have to offer, or the services or products that you have to offer? So that does require a little bit of infrastructure change on your side. And I know that I keep talking about infrastructure, but I do want to emphasize on that. And I think that you have no choice now but to adapt to the new norm. You have no choice now but to make sure that you're actually doing things to take care of your customer base, that you're doing things to take care of the type of people that you're going to service. So pay attention to that, and the more you pay attention to that, the more you'll be successful when it comes to your business. And it's really important, that you shift your mindset there. So this doesn't just universally go for the type of business we're at, as a credit repair service and all these type of things. I mean, most of that stuff is done through, online platforms and all these type of things. But I'm talking about businesses that technically need to adapt to basically product delivery services, food services, all these type of things. Because I'm looking at businesses now. I'm in the process of looking at a lot of different businesses for acquisition purposes, but more importantly, for restructuring purposes. So this is the ideal time to do that. So I hope you guys got a good lesson out of this video. I don't normally do these type of things when it comes to business discussions, but we have to adapt. And that means that we have to talk more and more about the elephant in the room. And in this situation, is what are some of the mistakes that your business has made, prior to hitting with this whole pandemic situation? What are some of the things that you're going to be doing differently beyond and currently with your pandemic situation and the whole business infrastructure that you have? And number 3, what systems will you implement to make sure that this thing going forward is going to be easier for you to adapt to the customers, making sure that you can service them at their convenience, and to make sure that you'll be able to take care of them and not really suffer through these processes, and at the same time you're not losing any business, right? So with that said and done, this is your guide and mentor, Ali Tarafter. See you guys on the next one. Take care, stay safe, bye for now.